Alafia! My name is Oshun. On this channel, we uncover the creepiest, most unusual haunted TikToks the internet has to offer for entertainment purposes. Thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the Soul Tribe for your weekly dose of supernatural, coming to you every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Period. Y'all are my Soul Tribe. Tribe is with a Y because the Y is for you. And that's because I love you. I love you. I love you so freaking much. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate your support. I do not take it for granted whatsoever, baby. It's a new year. So let's start this thing off right with giving our first shout out to Miss Jocelyn Jocelyn Dugas. My bad. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. 4824. She said, I'm super early, but hey, boo. And just because you was super early, that means you understood the assignment. And that's why you made it to the screen. Congratulations. And thank you. I appreciate you. I dearly do. I appreciate you all. Now, let's get to this creepy ass video.
Stick around for the grossest Christmas Eve story that I hope is gonna boil your blood like it did mine. So my girlfriend and I went to go grab food for tonight's festivities. We were having like a really quiet Christmas Eve, so we just went to go get food at this place that her aunt, who's like 80 years old, and us really like. While we were there were a bunch of like older people eating their food, which is totally cool. It's like a quaint place, like super 1950s style. But this one guy walks up to another gentleman who's sitting in one of the booths, and he's like, hey man, so there's a sleigh with all the reindeers like hanging out outside for you. And this guy proceeds to say, well, if it doesn't have teenage girls in it, then it's not mine. Mind you guys, this guy's like 70, like maybe pushing like 75 years old. And he said, if it doesn't have teenage girls in it, then it's not mine. Now at this point, I'm like completely disgusted because I'm just like standing there, and I like when I go out and about, like I dress like really down. I don't wear much makeup, and I can tell this guy's like looking me up and down as he's like saying this, thinking that I'm probably like, I don't know, young 20s, but still like disgusting, you know? And I don't know, like what is it that these old guys think that they A, can say something like that, and B, like think that that's okay? Like you're literally when you say stuff like that, it's not cute. It's not a cute look. You're fucking disgusting. It's not like you said like a 25-year-old girl. You said a fucking teenager. So anyways, I hope your blood is boiling just as much as mine is, because I've been thinking about that all damn night. We got some good ass food. We had a great Christmas Eve, and that's all I've been thinking about tonight, is that weirdo saying that, thinking that teenage girls, him, 70-year-old man, bleh, gross, and not okay, and just needs to be ixnayed, like chop your kahoonies off right then and there. All I gotta say. Anyways, Merry Christmas Eve to you. Love you, and don't be a fucking weirdo.
I completely agree, honey, and it's so crazy. This happens to be the first video. I'll make this really quick. I met a guy. He is fucking 51. Old nigga. He, like me, for one, because I'm younger, a lot younger than him. And he proceeds to tell me when he met his baby's mother, she was 18 or 19. He was 31. And he said, yeah, I raised her. I said, duh, she was a teenager. You were a grown-ass man. He was like, I know. Like, just regular, though. Like, he didn't see no problem with that. And I was like, bro, that's weird as fuck. Like, that's pedophile style vibes. Like, you don't see nothing wrong with that? He's like, no. He's like, that's just how it was back then. The fuck? Back when? Clearly back in his day, too. The fuck? Nah, hell nah. That's weird.
And legend has it, on Halloween night, if you're knitting or crocheting, you'll hear. And you'll wake up with a mistake in your project.
Creepiest things caught on camera part 2.
So I keep seeing all these TikToks of people talking about their New Year's resolutions, like the 12 grapes, the underwear, the suitcases. Those are all fun, but these are the ones that I personally do every year. During the last seconds of the year, grab a glass of water and throw it out of the window. That way you will be throwing away all of the negative energy that is in your home and starting the year off with a clean space. Number 2, make a doll out of all of your old clothes. This doll will represent all of the bad of the year. Take this doll, take it outside, and safely burn it. Number 3, put a gold ring in your champagne glass. This will bring prosperity throughout the whole year, and money will not be an issue. Number 4, as the clock hits midnight, make sure your first step in the new year is taken with your right foot. Make sure you take that first step with force. This will ensure that the new year will go on without obstacles and everything you plan will work out. And number 5, different colored candles. Just like the underwear theory, each color has a meaning. Light the candles right before dinner and leave them on for the rest of the night, waiting for them to burn out. If you guys want to know the meaning of each color candle, I can do a part 2.
My bad. If you believe her or believe in stuff like that, which I do, not necessarily believe what she's saying, but I believe in little superstitions. But this video should have been in the last video, so my apologies. But now you know for next year if you want to participate. I don't do none of those things. I've never even heard any of that. But very interesting, very interesting. And then not to mention, depending on, what you believe in, you can still do this April 1st on April Fool's Day. I'm just going to say that too. Next video.
Has anyone actually ever had a good New Year's Eve? Because I feel like we always set super high, unrealistic expectations for New Year's Eve. And we're like, oh my God, it's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be the time of my life. And it's always an absolute train wreck. But let me tell you about my most interesting New Year's Eve experience ever. So when I was in college, I came home for winter break and I was willing to do quite literally anything for like $5. Don't take that the wrong way. But anyways, my friend Nicole saw this article in the newspaper that this woman was throwing a New Year's party, and it was her and her husband, and she wanted everyone in the town to come. She was yelling it from the rooftops. Like, she was putting out flyers, banners. She wanted everyone there. And she put in the newspaper article, she was like, I need people to work this party. I need people to help me out, right? And so Nicole texted me and she's like, do you want to work this party with me? And I was like, what else would I be doing on New Year's Eve, right? Like getting drunk. So we go to this lady's home the day before the party because she's like, we need to do some prep stuff, right? Little did I know the prep stuff that she was talking about was moving her 30-pound cats that were downstairs up the stairs because these cats could not transport themselves because they were so fat. And mind you, this was before I started lifting. I had little tiny noodle arms. And so I was holding these giant 30-pound cats moving up the stairs. I was so afraid I was going to drop one of them. You absolutely know that they would not have been able to stop themselves from tumbling down because they had no motor skills at all. The next day the party happens, blah, 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 it's fine. And then the day after, she says, I need you guys to come back. And we had to transport the cats from upstairs to downstairs. So yeah, that was honestly probably one of the weirdest things I ever did for $100.
Some cats so fat. That is not healthy or cute. That was horrible. Poor babies.
It was Christmas Eve, and the Johnsons had a strange tradition. Every year, they left an empty plate at the table for a guest who never arrived. But this year, the guest came. At midnight, little Lucy woke up to a faint jingling sound, like bells, but they weren't coming from the roof. She tiptoed downstairs, her heart racing, and saw muddy footprints leading to the living room. The fireplace was cold, but something, or someone, had come through. There he was, a man in tattered clothes, his face hidden under a hood. He was placing a package under the tree. The tag read, "For Lucy, do not open before sunrise." But there was something strange about the handwriting. It looked like her own. Before she could scream, he whispered, "Thank you for inviting me in." Lucy froze in terror, unable to move. Suddenly, he vanished, leaving the room eerily silent. When her parents came downstairs, the present was gone, but the footprints remained, and so did a note, written in that same eerie handwriting. It read, "See you next year." Lucy's parents didn't believe her, but she knew what she saw. That night, she couldn't sleep, staring at the clock. A shadow moved outside her window just for a moment. Her heart raced as she whispered, "Who are you? Who was the Christmas visitor? What did he want from Lucy? And why did the note say, 'See you next year'?" Find out in part 2.
All right, so I just finished my workout with all 317 fucking people who decided to work out today. Happy 2024 and all that bullshit. I'm all for, new year, new me, but like, you didn't have to do it today, because some of us regulars were quite fucking irritated with all of y'all showing up today. If you feel offended, I don't give a fuck. So, the focus of today's story is on a gentleman who, about an hour ago, I realized is interested in me on Bumble while I was randomly scrolling through. And I've met this person in person earlier this year because we matched on the BOK or Black, whatever you want to call it, app, the all black dating site. It was one of those poignant times in life where I was like, what else do I have to lose besides $29.99 a month? Might meet my forever on there. I met everything but. Anywho, so this particular gentleman, like I said, is interested in me on Bumble. And when I clicked on his profile, I was like, yep, that's definitely him. The same 5 photos that he had on the other dating app are the same ones he has here, which I don't have a problem with that. Market yourself however you see fit. So when we met on that app, we messaged back and forth for about 2 weeks before I gave him my phone number. We talked on the phone. Everything was great. We could hold a conversation about just about anything that came up. He divulged, he's been in the 757 his whole life, born, raised, bred here, never left, which is kind of weird, but whatever. And he would, like to meet up in person and see if the conversation translates on the other side of the phone. So I suggest a coffee date. It's quick. If the vibe is not there, if it doesn't translate outside of the phone, no harm, no foul. We go on about our lives and, it is what it is. So he tells me what side of town he's on. So I kind of narrowed down a Starbucks that's roughly in the middle of both of us. I give him the location and he says, oh, that one's about 10 minutes away from my house. It's 15 away from me as long as the bridge tunnel is acting right. So, all is right in the world. And he suggested we meet that following Thursday at 5:30. So we're conversing every day. Good morning. Hey, how you doing? All of that good stuff. On the day of the actual coffee meetup, it's just like a typical day. Again, we're still on for 5:30 today. Yep. See you at 5:30. All right, cool. If anything comes up, of course, let me know and I'll do the same on my end. So I end up arriving about a little over 10 minutes early. Thankfully, traffic was on my side that day. So that allows me to order my drink, my cake pop, lemon, whatever it was I got that day. Find a table and get a nice vantage point for the parking lot for when he gets there. On top of people watching, I like to car watch. When it comes to cars, you can pretty much divulge a lot about a person by the vehicle that they drive. Is it flashy? Is it just a commuter? Something that gets you to and from? Is it a big old truck? Is it a small little sports car? All those type of things will kind of let you know the personality of that person and if they are a little on the side. All right, so Mans pulls up. He's in a Altima. It's an older model Altima. And as he's driving up, he's like doing this thing with his hands like he's talking to someone. Now, again, I car watch, so I know that particular model of Altima does not have Bluetooth in it. It's an older model, so maybe he's got like an earpiece in or something like that, but he's like clearly talking to someone. Or maybe he was talking to himself. I'll never know. So he backs into a spot that coincidentally is next to my vehicle and jumps out and kind of like 2 steps it in because he's already like a good 10 minutes or so late at this point. My mans had driven past this particular location, which we both agreed upon, went to another one. And when 5:30 rolled around, I gave him a buzz like, hey, you still coming? He's like, oh, snap. Which one was it? I tell him the location. Again, I give him the landmarks, the 3 restaurants that are around. He goes, oh, I passed that one. I'm on my way back. Now he's here. He jumps out the car. He's kind of like 2-stepping into the Starbucks and he's wearing a white t-shirt that looks like he has been fighting wolverines and coyotes all day in. The jeans that he's wearing looks like he's been breaking bricks and karate chopping wood with his knuckles all damn day. Does not look like the indoor analytic job that he said that he works. Then again, maybe you do something on the side. Maybe it was a rough day. Maybe you were fighting ninjas on the way. I don't know. But either way, he looked very like disheveled. And I just came from a construction site, which, hey, I love blue collar workers to my core. So he gets in and he's a little like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm letting him, like, it's fine. You made it safe. No worries, no harm, no foul. We hug. We sit down. He's got like a beautiful smile. He looks like his pictures. It's not a catfish. He's got a little bit of gray up top, which wasn't in the pictures, but whatever. Maybe he took them a couple years ago and those are his go-tos. I don't really judge, but for all intents and purposes, he is who he presented on his profile. Skin routine on perfection. He needs to bottle all that up and sell it. All right, so we sit down at our table, and from my vantage point, I can see the entire parking lot. My back is to the baristas. I can see everybody that's coming in, every car that's coming through the parking lot and whatnot. He's kind of sitting at an angle where the parking lot is more to his back. So every so often I begin to notice, and I'm not sure if maybe the first 2 or 3 times he did it, I was just like, let me just, enjoy the conversation. But Mans keeps looking over his shoulder back into the parking lot. So after I finally noticed it, I'm like, is everything okay? I'm thinking maybe he thinks like, is his car going to be stolen in the parking lot? This is a nicer side of Chesapeake. I don't think that anyone's going to just roll up and steal your Altima, but hey, maybe there's something, I don't know. He's like, no, my bad. I just like to be, aware of my surroundings and whatnot, which I completely understand, which is why I'm facing the parking lot, but whatever. All right, so conversation is going really, really well. He's telling me about, growing up in this area and, what he does outside of helping raise his 2 children, which are 15 and 11. Keep those ages in mind for later on. All right, so we've been here going on a good 15 minutes, and I realized that my hot chocolate has run through my system, so I excuse myself to get up and go to the ladies' room. I take about 5 steps, and then I realize, I don't have my purse. Turn around, grab my purse, and when I turn around, Mans is standing in the window looking into the parking lot. So he must have jumped up as soon as I took 2 steps away. I turned back and I'm like, oh, I just left my purse. Is everything okay? Because again, you're now standing fully aware looking into the parking lot. He says, oh, no, nothing's wrong. I just, again, situational awareness, just seeing what's out there. At this point, I'm a little concerned because as far as my brain is telling me something ain't right. No one is just that aware in an area that you say you lived in for 10 years. And this is one of the nicer cities in the 757. I could see if we was in like Newport News or something, but what's really up right now? So I go to the bathroom. I come back. Mans is still standing in the window, staring out into the parking lot, like looking around, kind of peeping the scene. And as I make my way back to the table, he turns and he's like, oh, all right, welcome back. We both sit back down and we continue our conversation. Now, at this point, he has resituated himself so that more of his frontal is able to see the parking lot. So we're kind of almost shoulder to shoulder at this point versus looking at each other across the table. And this is where things go left. So I notice a white Ford Fusion circling the parking lot. And he turns, and I guess he noticed the car too. And so he kind of resituates himself, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. Is that like the repo man or something? The repo man would have been a much better outcome than what transpired. So this vehicle pulls up, skirt, blocks his vehicle in, partially blocks mine because again, mine is parked next to him. And a very, very, very irritated woman throws the driver's door open, jumps out, and beelines it to that car. So now my interest is very intrigued as to what is going on in this parking lot and why all of a sudden his attention is now completely locked on this vehicle. This very, very, very irritated and angry woman that jumped out of the driver's side of this vehicle has now beelined to his vehicle, went straight to the back seat, and pulled 2 kids out of the back seat. Yeah, you heard that right. He breaks his neck to get out to that parking lot and starts trying to like, no, it ain't what you think. It ain't what you think. She is cussing him out. The kids are just like, we gonna go get mama car. Well, daddy in trouble again. Now, remember I told you that the kids that he told me about were 15 and 11, if I remember correctly. The 2 that came out that back seat were definitely both under the age of 8. Mans left his kids in the back seat while meeting another woman. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. She is giving him the business. in this parking lot, and I am here for it. Part of me wants to join in with her, but you know what? This between them, and I'm not trying to catch a stray or fade today because I don't have the right shoes, and all my weapons are in my vehicle, not in my purse. So I need to make an exit. So I hit the remote start on my vehicle. That way, you know, hey, the car next to them that you done blocked in is trying to leave. I walk around this whole thing, and she is at the bitch right there. I'm sorry. What happened? I don't understand what's going on. I beeline to the passenger seat of my truck, jump in, slide over to the driver's seat. Ooh, baby Jesus. It took her a minute to calm down enough to back her vehicle out. She still blocked him in, and I drove off and blocked him.
These niggas ain't shit. And I hate to say that. I do. I promise you I do. But why? It's continuing, like always. It's like, I hate to put everyone in the same category, but baby, y'all are making it very easy to do so. I must say that. That was crazy. I've been in situations very similar, like, that's why I'm cool. And it don't matter if it's a man or a woman, because I done dated both and been through weird shit with both, okay? Baby, it's crazy out here in these streets.
A girl named Mia DM'd me, and she said that her ex-boyfriend was in a cult, and he ended up convincing her to join. So this is Spooky Scary Story Time. This is Mia's story. Mia is not her real name. She wanted to be anonymous, but she said this is the first time she's telling this story because she's now just beginning to process everything that happened. And if this is true, this is crazy. So Mia is living a little outside of Los Angeles, and she is on a dating app. And in 2021, she matched with a guy named Mark. And Mark seemed to be very well traveled. He had photos all over the world. He was very articulate. He was quoting books, and he seemed very deep. They were having great conversations on the app, and he wasn't giving off any creepy or like F-boy vibes like so many of the other guys she talked to. So she was immediately into him. She said that a lot of the other guys on the app in her area just wanted to hook up, and she wasn't into that. So talking to Mark was really refreshing, and they talked on the app for 2 weeks when Mia was actually the one that suggested they finally meet up. So Mark suggests this little coffee shop in the downtown area of where they lived, and she goes to meet him. When she gets there, he's already there sitting at a table. He sees her walk in, he gets up, walks over to her, and he's like, "What do you want to drink?" He buys her coffee. She said she was immediately super attracted to him. He was really tall. He had dark hair, blue eyes, and she said she has nothing against short kings, but she was just pleasantly surprised at how tall and attractive he was. So they go back to the table, they're drinking their little drinky drinks, and the next thing she knows, it's been 3 hours, and they're having these great deep conversations. He's asking her all kinds of questions about herself, and they're really focused on the idea of wanting to be the best versions of themselves at this point in both of their lives. There is a connection. They are feeling each other fully. So Mark's like, "Oh my gosh, this has been great. I would love to see you again. But I have to get going." And she's like, "Yeah, I would love to see you too." And he's like, "You know what? I don't really do this on a first date usually, but would you be interested in meeting my community?" And Mia said that he had referenced his community a few times in their conversation, but he never really elaborated. So she was thinking it was like a religious or like a friend group or maybe even like a meditation group, but she didn't really know. And she was like, "Well, what's your community?" And he was like, "Well, basically it's just a group of like-minded individuals that want to transcend the chains of everyday life and unlock our full potential." And Mia's like, "That sounds awesome. I would really like to get to know more people that are on this path of being better with me, but like, what exactly do you do?" And he's like, "Well, we have certain rituals. So for example, if you were to be brought into the community, the first thing we would do is blindfold you for 24 hours, and everyone in the community takes care of you basically for 24 hours. And that's a way for you to develop complete trust in the community and know that you can rely on them for anything." And she's like, "That seems intense." And he was like, "Well, there's other things that we do too. Like, so then we have this thing called the merging, and basically everyone gets together and we reveal something deep, like a deep secret about ourselves. And that way we know that we're taking our masks off that we wear in everyday life around each other, and we can really see who everybody is without judgment." He tells her about another ritual they do, which takes place every few months. They all get together and everyone sacrifices something that's important to them. It can be something from the present or the past, but basically it's a way to strip away the dependence that they have on the material world. And Mia's like kind of into it, honestly. She's like, "I've never really heard about this before. Like, why don't I just think about it?" And he's like, "You know what? Think about it. No pressure. If you want to do it, just let me know and you can come to one of our meetings." She's like, "Yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems intense, like I said." And he's like, "If you want to come, how about this? The first time you come, you don't even have to participate. You can just observe and see if it's something that you're into." And she's like, "Okay, I'll think about it." So she goes home that night. She tells her best friend about her date, and she's like, "Yeah, I really like him. Like, he's so hot." And her best friend's like, get it. Like, I'm glad you found somebody. And then she's like, yeah, but then he's like into this weird like community thing. And her best friend's like immediately like, nope, delete, block, like we're done with him. He's a weirdo. And Mia's like, I don't know. I'm just going to like see how it goes. Like, I've really never had this kind of connection with someone. And her best friend's like, okay, you're crazy, but like whatever. So the next day she doesn't hear from Mark at all. So she decides she's going to text him. And she says, hey, I was thinking about it. Like, I think I'm interested in your community. I would like to know more. And he was like, perfect. Like, I will reserve you a spot at our next meeting. It's tomorrow. Do you want to go? And she's like, sure. So he sends her the address. She takes an Uber to the address. It's a beautiful, huge white house in Hollywood Hills. And she said she doesn't know who lived there, but like whatever they did, they must have been wildly successful. So she knocks at the door, and an older woman with gray hair and a hood and a robe answers the door. And she's like, oh, Mia, like, you're Mark's friend. Like, come on in. We've been waiting for you. So Mia feels welcomed, and she walks in, and she doesn't see Mark, but she sees about 8 or 9 other people all in like these same hooded robes. And she follows the woman to the kitchen, and there's an island in the kitchen, and it has all kinds of snacks like charcuterie boards, cheeses, wines, but then there's also bones and feathers and like little tufts of fur. And she just felt that that was a little odd, but she was just like, okay, like rich people have weird taste in art. And everyone's talking amongst themselves, and she doesn't see Mark anywhere. So she's like sort of mingling, like, and she pulls out her phone and she texts him. She's like, hey, where are you? He's like, oh, I'll be down in a second. And then the older woman who answered the door comes to the center of the kitchen, and she's like, shall we begin? And she dims the lights and lights a few candles, and the rest of the people gather in a circle, like around this kitchen island. And there's a wood cutting board with nothing on it in the middle of the island. So the older woman starts chanting this hymn, but it's not in English. Mia said it was in, she thinks, Latin. And they're all chanting in unison. And she's like, this is weird. And Mark comes up behind her, and he whispers in her ear, he's like, don't be nervous. Like, this is just part of the ritual. So Mia's just watching. They chant for a few minutes, and then the old woman stops, and they all stop. And she's like, we're here today to welcome one of our own. And they all turn and look at Mia. And she goes, are you ready to become one with the community? And Mia's like, actually, no, I'm just here to observe. Like, I don't really want a part of this today. Like, I just kind of wanted to see what you guys are up to. She said she was trying to be respectful, but she was like very nervous and put on the spot, and she didn't know what to say. He tells her not to worry, that this is just guiding her into the next phase of a. And the older woman can sense Mia's nervousness, so she said, it's okay, you're not ready. Is anyone else here willing to step in for Mia until she's ready? And Mark says, I will. So Mark walks toward the old woman, and she pulls something wrapped in black fabric out of the pocket of her robe, and she hands it to Mark. And she watches Mark unwrap this object, and I can't say what it is because it's TikTok, but it's a pointy object that people use in kitchens to chop up food. And she said it had a long wooden handle, and there were strange carvings in the wood, but she couldn't read what it said. Mark takes the object, and he looks at her, and he says, don't be nervous. This is normal. And he takes it, the pointy object, and does this into his hand. And Mia gasps because she's like, what is going on? And nobody else flinches or moves. Like, they're all just acting like this is the most normal thing in the world. And Mark steps forward, and he takes his hand that now has a cut, and he puts it directly on the wood cutting board, and all of the liquid that's coming out is absorbed into the cutting board. And everybody's just watching. They're watching him, and then after everything is absorbed, they look at her, and the old woman says, do you want to join? And Mia's like, no, I don't. And she steps forward and hands her the pointy object, and Mia takes it, and she doesn't know what to do. She's like shaking. So she hands it to Mark, and she's like, I think I made a mistake coming here. I don't feel right. And the older woman's like, it's okay, we knew you weren't ready. You go wait outside on the porch, and you can go home when this is over. He'll take you home. So she goes out to the porch. She's texting furiously her best friend. She's like, you will not believe what's going on. Her best friend is like, leave like right now. Do you want me to come and like send an Uber? Like, I will come and get you in an Uber. Like, you need to get out of there. And she's like, well, honestly, like, I didn't feel threatened. Nothing really bad happened. Like, he's just a little weird. And her best friend's like, okay, I told you you're crazy. Like, send me your location. So she does. But pretty soon Mark comes outside. He's like, I know that was a lot. I'll take you home. So he's driving her home, and on the way home, she basically just tells him straight up. She's like, I really like you. I really feel a connection, but I don't know what's going on with you. Like, why are you doing these things? And he was like, these are just things that you won't understand until you're part of the community. But I promise you, if you want to join and get deeper into this, you will understand everything that we do. But again, he's like, no pressure. I would love to keep seeing you, even if you don't want to be part of this. But just think about it, okay? He essentially says that the only way, though, that he can feel like they have a true, meaningful connection is if she's also part of this community. So she's like, okay, I'll think about it. So she goes home, sleeps on it, doesn't hear from him again. The next night, she's having a glass of wine. She's kind of freaking out because he has not texted her. She's going to text him. And she says, I've been thinking a lot about what you said. I think I want to get deeper into this and learn more about your. Sends her a text back immediately. And he's like, I'm so glad you decided that you want to get deeper into this. Like, tomorrow night there's another ritual, and this time if you want to stay for the full thing. She goes back to the same house with Mark this time, and he is telling her, I'm so happy you decided that you wanted to join this. Like, I can't wait to explore this further with you. And they go in, and the same older woman answers the door, and they all gather, and there is a bowl, and it's like this copper color. And she tells Mia in front of the whole group how glad she is that she's committing, and she smears Mia with this liquid all over her face and arms in these like intricate patterns. And Mia said that she felt cold, like the liquid was cold, it wasn't water. And after she covers her in this liquid, she leads her to a black mirror, and she says, this is where you're going to uncover the truth about who you really are. Mia was part of this cult for 2 years, and there are so many details to this story. It's crazy. If you guys want more of the examples she gave me about what they did, I will gladly make another follow-up video with this. But she said that Mark is on this app, which is why she wanted to be anonymous. And she said she also wanted to warn other women about potentially joining groups or communities that you don't know what they're doing. Because she said that she still does not feel like herself since dating him. They just broke up after 3 years, 2 months ago. So she is like just now beginning to process everything that she went through. Keep sending me these stories, and I will keep posting them and adding to them this playlist.
Oh my gosh. Ashley Inc. Thank you, baby. That was a good story. That shit is crazy. Like, what? And why? I wonder what made her give in. Like, what interests you to be like, yeah, let me see what this is about. And then you join it? That's called a weak mind. That's weird. That's really weird, honey. Be careful out there, y'all. Be careful.
This was the most evil lady that ever lived. During the early 1900s in East New Jersey, a fortune teller lady named Luna Tick had a shop at the outlet mall. Most people avoided her shop because of how strange she was. But when they did enter, she would read their palms and give them a date when their life would end. The creepy part about this was that she was always correct and started to gain local fame. But when a skeptical off-duty officer named Pepe Roney went in for a reading, he was told that today would be his last. He quickly insulted Luna, saying that she was a fraud and that he would be right back here tomorrow to prove it. Pepe decided to stay the night in at his home just in case, because he knew her track record of being correct. After dozing off around 10 p.m., he would wake up randomly and would become face to face with Luna, and she would creepily say, "Sorry, did I wake you?" A scuffle between them would happen, and Pepe was able to escape her grasp, but she continued chasing him down the hallway, yelling, "I am just fulfilling your destiny." She was able to catch up to him, and she tackled him down the stairs. When he awoke, Luna was still unconscious on the ground, so he decided to handcuff her to a railing and went out to get help. But when they returned, she was gone. After everyone left, Pepe decided to go lay down and relax. But out of nowhere, he heard a whisper say, "Let's try this again."
I knew that was about to happen. So she been killing everybody, telling them when they gonna die, because yeah, I'm gonna kill your ass when you ain't looking. That's crazy.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
I made this recording 10 minutes. I don't know if it's going to take that long, but this story is a rabbit hole and it made me believe in the paranormal forever. My boyfriend and I had a spiritual attachment for 9 months. Started about a year ago when we went to see his family in South Carolina and go to a cemetery. We went with the siblings to play Find My Grave with a spirit box. Find My Grave is basically like you ask the spirit box questions and see if the spirit like guides you to their grave, basically gives you clues and whatever. So we start doing this, and all of a sudden, my audience, what was going on with the 34 thing. And all of a sudden in his life, like he was his paranormal story I have had so far.
That was a great story. I love that story. That was awesome. No, it's not good to have an attachment, honey. But at least the attachment that she had was gentle, was kind, was loving, and left on its own. Now that's a good attachment to have, okay? If there is such a thing. But I love that story. That was awesome. I wonder what happened though too. I wonder what lesson he learned. What made him just say, okay, I can leave, or release his energy to wherever else it went to. Good question. Good story. Thank you. Go follow her YouTube too, okay? Spooky Foodie. I'm gonna have to check it out myself because I want to see the proof. We like receipts around her, okay? next video.
Hey! All hands, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die. Now some have died and some are alive, and others sail on the sea with their keys to the cage and the day to fiddler's grave. Yo.
What the heck is that? Is that a real show? Is it called Baby New Year's? What is that? That look crazy. I want to check it out. Let me know in the comments if that was a actual situation on Netflix or something. What is that?
This happened 2 months ago in January of 2019. My parents went out to a party. They told me they wouldn't be back until at least 3 a.m. in the morning because the party was supposed to start at 8 p.m. and the party was going to be in New Jersey. We live in Connecticut, so it takes a while to get there and back. They told me to watch my 10-year-old brother and expected me to be responsible because I'm 15 years old. When they left, we watched movies all night while eating a bunch of popcorn. It was around 11:30, and we just finished watching Infinity War. I told my brother to brush his teeth and go to bed. I stayed up later than him to watch the movie Logan. The movie ended, and it was around 2 in the morning. I was getting ready for bed when my brother came down the stairs. I asked him what he was still doing up, and he said the Boogeyman was in his closet and wanted to touch him. I looked at him in confusion. My brother isn't the type of kid to pull pranks or joke around. He wanted me to check it out. I said fine and started saying he probably just heard a house noise. He said he heard a noise coming from his closet, and when he checked inside, the Boogeyman was there and said he wanted to touch him.
The fuck? Touch me where? And touch me how? You weird, creepy old ass man. Call the police. But you're reached the end of another video. Hope you enjoyed this video. First one of the new year. Some more holidays that was holiday videos that was left over, so I didn't want them to go to waste. And we are on the fast right now. This is the last day of the fast. So hope everyone has been able to stick in there. It was only for 3 days, January 1st, January 2nd, and January the 3rd. And yeah, if I am calculating right, because this is pre-recorded, today should be today should be the second day, unfortunately, not the first day. Or not the third day. So I believe today is the second day. So we still got one more day. So hold it in there. Drink your water. Juice your fruits. And that's it. You are not allowed to have nothing else. No smoking. No drinking. Work out. Still do your stretches. Get some yoga. Do some meditation. Of course, meditate. Say your prayers to whoever it is that you pray to or what you pray to. And yeah. Made it to the end of another video. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Y'all are my soul trap. Trap is with a Y because the Y is for you. And yeah, we out of here. 2025, baby. Ashe. Open my third eyes, on my way. I'ma open my one eye, be in the vein. She gon' hold my body.